Not finished with part A though. We got to show R times S equals what? We got to show that R times S equals C over I. So again, R and S are solutions from that quadratic formula, right? What is R times S? That's what we got to show that C over I, right? Get another page real quick. Okay? Remember, R and S came from the quadratic formula. So how am I going to write R times S? And what times what? Which is negative b minus b squared, or square root of b squared minus 4ac. All over 2a, right? Okay. Now instead of adding two fractions, I'm multiplying two fractions. How do I multiply two fractions? Multiply numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator, right? What is denominator times denominator? 4a squared. Very good. At the top, I have minus b plus square root of b squared minus 4ac times negative b minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac. Those numbers are almost the same, aren't they?
Can we just skip that drop step?
Yeah, that probably wouldn't hurt you too much. I can see what you're doing if you just multiply that. Okay? Alright, but now, look at those two numbers in that numerator. Negative b plus square root of b squared minus 4ac. Negative b minus square root of b squared minus 4ac. They're almost the same. They're conjugates, right? What happens when you multiply two conjugates together? Yes, the first term squared plus the minus the second term squared, right? So what is the first term squared here? Yeah, negative b times negative b just gives you b squared, and then minus the second term squared. What's the second term? Yeah, because when you square root, and that second term here is the square root of b squared minus 4ac. So when you square root, it just becomes what's underneath the square root. That's all over 4a squared, right? Why did I write those parentheses there?
To show that it subtracts.
Yeah. And a lot of times, if I don't put those parentheses there, I might write minus b squared, but I won't change the sign on that 4ac. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and distribute that negative through. What happens? What do you see? What can I do? B squared minus b squared, just, they cancel each other, right? So I'm left with 4ac on the bottom, that's wrong. 4a squared on the bottom. Left with 4ac over 4a squared, right? What happens now? 4a cancels, 4 cancels down here, 1 of the a's cancels down here. What am I left with? And that's exactly what I want to show, was that R times S is C over I. 20 points. Boom. Done. Alright? 20 points. Another 20 points comes from part B. It doesn't take near as long when you're just doing it, going through it. When you know how to do it, alright, explaining it, makes it take a little bit longer. It says use part A to verify ax squared plus bx plus c equals, new page,